We are live. Good morning.
Morning, morning.
All
Good
right,
morning.
we got our panel set up so far, and we're just waiting to see if anybody else pops in. So why doesn't everybody just say good morning? Linda, go ahead, tell us what's going on.
Good morning. Let's see what's going on. It's super early here. Uh, I don't know what else to say.
Okay, good. Robert?
Well, that's tough to follow. No, oh man, it's going great, going great. For me, I feel like I have really honed in on my target market and what it is
Mm,
that my message that I want to be preaching, so to speak. So it's been a good week for me. I know I haven't posted in this group, but in the other group, I've been posting my blogs and stuff, and I'm really getting into uh, supporting the veteran suicide mission, basically,
mm, mm,
to make more and more people aware of the 22 veterans per day that are committing suicide, and doing whatever we can do to get the word out. Just to make more people aware of what is happening, and maybe some of the things that I bring out on my blog. Hopefully, people will read that, and it will give them, a little more guidance and more understanding as to what's happening there. So,
Good. That's an
that's
important issue.
awesome.
You got to take care of it.
yeah,
So, as far as I go, I mean, it's just been a great week so far. I mean, just
Hmm.
getting everything done, getting some, getting some leads in, getting starting to get more hits on my sites. So it's moving, which is good.
good.
I would like to say something that happened to me yesterday.
Okay.
um, Only because this might happen to other people. Um, and I talked to you, Ray, a little bit about it. I talked to a mentor about something completely different. Somebody that isn't really mentoring me anymore. I don't want to say their name or anything, but was talking to them about something, and so they asked me, how I was doing, and I said, I'm getting, working on getting everything together. And she was like, why are you still getting everything together? And I said, well, I changed my niche, so gradually I change things over to talk to my new specific niche. And so she asked me what it was, and I told her, and she basically kind of it was through a chat. So I couldn't tell what her emotion was behind it, but I felt like I was getting yelled at that I switched my niche. And the thing is that I it wasn't like I was doing great with that niche, and I was the old niche was network marketers, and it could have been how I was marketing. It could have been, a myriad of things. But what I felt was that I was chasing after broke network marketers that didn't want to spend the money to, brand themselves, or to, promote in a proper way, or they didn't want to they didn't want to like go beyond their whatever their company told them to do. Like it's, like they would get in trouble if they did something other than, whatever the company's telling them to do. And so I was getting frustrated, and it wasn't really fun for me. And now that I switched my niche, it's I personally understand that it's going to take a little bit to turn the ship around and figure out where my new niche is, how to speak to them, what kind of blogs to write. And so I knew there'd be like some space before I start getting leads again. It's almost like starting over a little bit, although I have all the education to, do what I need to do. But it really bothered me because I felt like she made me feel like she made me feel like I started second guessing myself. And but then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? I'm having fun with this again. I don't, I don't feel like I'm chasing people. I feel like I'm starting to attract people to me. And it's not like I gave up the other niche. It's more like a B category, that I'm still gonna market to them at in certain ways. But anyway, I mean, I just kind of wanted to put it out there because some people may come across where it may not be about a niche. It may be, a family member, why are you still doing this? And you got to stay strong with how you feel about things. And, when I was talking to Ray about it, because I was just kind of, I need to vent, and told him what happened. He's like, you got to do what your heart tells you to do. And that's what my niche is now, is people who want a better life, that whether they're making $100,000 or $10,000 a year, they want something more than what they have now, either it be more time or more money or both. And I'm passionate about it, and you can tell it in my voice. Not this morning because it's 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. But you have to find the niche that you're most passionate about. And so I kind of learned that lesson, is that there are going to be people who poo-poo you, no matter what it is. An old mentor saying, no, you should go back to your old niche because that's what I do, and I'm successful with it. Or if it's a family member that doesn't understand the struggles of starting a business, that there's going to be some bumps and hurdles that you have to go through, that you just have to stay strong and steady in your mission, and just keep going and just keep putting your message out there. So it actually almost, it kind of gave me a bigger fire in my belly to get my message out there, and not to prove her wrong, but to prove myself right, that this is where I need to be.
Okay. Robert, any comments on that?
Well, I believe you're absolutely right. You have to stay true to yourself, okay? It's nice for someone to give you some input and maybe a little advice here and there, but you really have to stay true to your own heart, because your passion is your passion, whereas this other person's passion may lie where it lies. But then again, in my opinion, if that person really has you at your best interest for you, then they would just be standing there supporting you the whole way. And they wouldn't be trying to push you off to somewhere that you don't really want to go right now.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I'm just going to reiterate that, like I said to you before, I mean, you got to go where your heart is. I mean,
and I really felt that. I mean, almost immediately when I changed my niche, I felt more excited about it, and how many people can I reach, and where are these people? Because I want to help them, and like I said, it may be the way I marketed or the way I did certain things. It could all have been what I was doing, but the fact of the matter is, the people that I was attracting into my business, or that got on my mailing list, were all people that didn't want to spend the money, or didn't want to, they didn't want to go off the track that the company sets them on, and that gets frustrating after a while. And so I just feel like if people are really looking for, and the network marketers tell me that they're looking for help. They just didn't really want the help, or they didn't want that kind of help. And I just feel like if I can reach those people who are either struggling from paycheck to paycheck, or feel like they're living Groundhog Day every day, and show them that with a little bit of work for a while, you can then get off the hamster wheel, and have a better life. And when I started doing that, I got excited and passionate about it. So I just, like you said, I got to stay true to myself. It just bothered me that, I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, but there's one thing that I found this week, and I was listening to a couple of different hangouts, different people doing. One was a guy that made $3,100 while at the beach, and another one was a guy that's having a lot of success. He sponsored like 28 people in 30 days, and some other people have done similar things in shorter periods of time. And the thing that stuck out is that we complicate a lot of what we do here, because it's meet new people, give them a solution to their problem, and ask them to buy. And that's where we got to be. Because we get so caught up in doing all these other things and overthinking things at the same time, where the people that seem to get it simplify it so much. Just like we heard in Orlando, in Las Vegas from the Lazy Millionaires. It's very simple. As Ellie Walsh always says, it's not rocket science. And it's just something I think we all need to think about in moving forward. Just get out there, talk to people, and offer them solutions, and then just ask them to buy. So I think that's one thing we don't do enough of, is asking to buy, because the one thing that Dave brought up in this last week's Top Producer we were watching, is that the majority of people in this business can't sell.
Right.
And this is a business where you have to sell. And to do it properly, you got to find somebody's pain, give them a solution, and ask them to buy. And I think that's something we just all need to keep in mind as we move forward.
I agree. I'm the first one to admit that I make it more difficult than what it is.
Yeah, I think we all do that. We definitely all do that. As far as starting into a new niche there, Linda, the fact is you are so much further ahead now than you were the last time you went through that, right? So, the setup process, it does take a little while to get everything tweaked the way you want it, but you're going to be moving at a much faster pace than you did before. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
And you like I mentioned before, that list that you've already built, you need to keep feeding them, and some of those may turn out to be a part of this same niche. So
that's right. You're right.
Okay.
And I'm not waiting to have everything perfect. I just, put stuff out there and, keep plugging along, and eventually things are going to start moving.
Yeah. Well, I know I don't ask for the sale very often at all. I really don't, and that's part of it, and part of it is because and I've mentioned this before, is that even at this point, 2 years into this thing or whatever, I still don't really have the back end set up the way I want it set up. And so in my personal opinion, that still holds me back. Okay, and that's one of the things that in our breakfast meeting that we had yesterday, that's one of the things that we have agreed to all correct by next Wednesday. So
we need to keep on you about that.
That's right. Keep pushing.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, I got a message from Nancy who's watching. She says she makes it more difficult herself also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, it's a common tale, and that's why they keep saying keep it simple, and go back to the 8 core commitments,
Hmm.
and it's funny though. You see a hangout, or something that's on Periscope, or whatever, and they talk about something that gets you fired up, like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and it is a great idea, but sometimes then that kind of messes with the basics, like you're all like caught up in, like, okay, I'm gonna try that, and for instance, and I still want to do it. I had to kind of put it off a little bit to get back to the basics. But I saw a thing with Chris Record, and I talked about it before, the 5 course meal kind of funnel that you go through, and I just thought it was such a great idea that I got out my whiteboard, and I just I worked it all out of how I wanted to get everything, what the person would go through from the beginning to the end, and but then I was so caught up in that like other stuff was getting ignored, and you can't do that. So I kind of went back to the basics, and I keep the whiteboard up so I can see it, and a little, I work on it a little bit every, building that funnel and everything. And but I think that's, we're especially in this group, we're such learners that we're watching hangouts, and we're watching videos on YouTube and stuff like that, and which is all great. That's part of your education and getting a perfect, with not perfect, but sharpening your craft. And but then when we do that, it then kind of puts not a rock in the system, but that's another thing to add, and to think through, and all that kind of stuff. And so we let that get ahead of us. And I think you got to always have that basic plan going, no matter what, and the other stuff has to be built in time.
Well, I mean, everything that you learn as you go along, I mean, you find what you like out of it, and you put it into play. I mean, one
Hmm.
thing that everybody talks about, and again, it's back to simplicity, is learn, do, teach.
Right.
Whether it be your videos or your blog, if you get something new, do it yourself, and then go teach it to somebody else, because it's anybody else coming in does not have the education that you have, and whatever knowledge you have that they don't have, you're an expert.
Hmm.
So the more that you can accumulate and the more you can teach, and give value, you're going to relate to more people that way.
I completely agree.
Okay.
I need to do that with my books. I'm so used to, or when I read slow to begin with, because I like try to absorb everything as opposed to just getting it read. And and then when it comes time to make a video or whatever, I kind of like almost forget what I need, what I could have made a video on, and what I need to do is make notes while I'm reading it. Um, because I'm reading so much, that's just a million videos right there just from reading, and when it comes time to think about something to do a video, I kind of like get deer in the headlight look, even though I've read a bunch of stuff and I've watched a bunch of videos. I need to make notes while I'm doing it, so I have it ready, and make videos. I already have the subject ready for when I do.
Make a video right after you get done reading a section.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, then you upload it as you need them.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
As soon as that, what I like to do is, if I'm reading something and something really really clicks with me, that's when I got to go up and do and make my video right then. Because if
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I always forget it.
Right.
And I might
Yep.
even write it down. I might even write it down in my, in my little notebook. But later on, when I go to do a video, the same thoughts that I had about that aren't there. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
that's true.
So,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
if something really clicks with me, that's what I do. I grab my phone and I go shoot my video.
That's a good idea. Let's do it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Alrighty. All right, let's get into, what was it called? Mechanics and relations or something?
Mechanics.
I can't remember the title.
Strategies. Mechanics and
Yeah.
strategies.
Mechanics and strategies, right.
Yeah.
And what Dave talked about. I mean, I found it very interesting on how he showed the old-fashioned way and how it evolved into the internet. Oh, look, Nancy showed up.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Nancy.
Hey, how are you?
Well, I thought I'd jump on since there was some room on the panel.
Oh, we appreciate that. How's it going by you?
And it's such an interesting conversation. I wanted to jump in there as far as talking about this subject, but
Sure, go right ahead.
Go for it.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
I think for me, yes, we make this excruciatingly more difficult and painful than what it really is. And I know that, but it's the whole learning process, or it's like, I don't think I've learned enough. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I have enough knowledge. I'm not as smart as that person. I haven't been in it that long. I mean, the excuses are endless. And for me, sometimes too, it's the advertising. It's like, how to exactly to advertise on Facebook, how to exactly, or even making sure that everything's hooked up correctly, with your funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Just the little technical things, where I think what I have done is I've hired somebody to do the technical stuff, some of the technical stuff for me, and it's taken a lot of the pain out of it. And it's not as expensive as you might think.
Mm-hmm.
And that like I said, that's really helped me out a lot.
Nance, you mentioned advertising, or you doing stuff on Facebook. What were you talking about there?
Well, I mean, even just advertising on Facebook. Setting it all up. As far as to advertise to your audience.
Okay.
A paid advertisement.
Okay.
And I mean, there's the little things like. Sometimes I freak out about, oh my gosh, Facebook is going to shut me down, if I do something wrong. I mean, you always hear all these horror stories, and I've been shut down before. I think we all have, once or twice. But, it's that, it's like, because things are always changing with Facebook, and I would love to advertise on Facebook, but, I mean, it's a process, and I've done it before. I've been shut down before, but it's like, okay, you watch these trainings, on how to advertise on Facebook, but I don't know. It's just some fear I have, that they're going to shut me down.
I have the same fear.
Saying the wrong thing,
Mm-hmm.
But how do you learn? You got to make mistakes to,
I know. Yes,
you're
you're
stepping
right.
stones for your future.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Because if you don't make the mistake, how do you learn?
Right.
I mean, I did a couple of things this week on that. I think it was videos or somewhere along the line. I wrote a blog. But, what's holding you back?
Yeah, I saw that.
A lot of us have to, got to get through that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is fear and, combinations of fear and other emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing what we all may want to do is I saw a hangout last night that Paul Hutchings did with his group, the Pipeline Prosperity Alliance, and they had guys on. There's one guy, Aaron, who was doing the most of the talking last night. Sponsored 20 some odd people in 30 days.
Wow.
And they had other people that were using the same system that were getting. Like 9 people in 10 days and stuff like that. But I think you guys may want to go back and watch the replay of that, because that was dealing with Facebook and how to have do it for free. And just so you have the URL, it's live, L-I-V-E, .prosperitymoney.com.
Can you post that, Ray?
I really, I mean, I feel funny, putting it out there for everybody.
Oh, okay, got it.
Since, I had, I got invited, by Paul.
Right.
We've been communicating a lot together.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Oh my gosh.
I mean, he reached out to me. We became friends, and he's been questioning me on stuff and telling me, where I'm right and wrong. So
awesome.
I take his advice. But yeah, I just found a lot. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it today because I'm gonna put it into action while I'm on Facebook because I do get a lot of likes and shares on my stuff, and and views, and those are all people I can contact, that are open market.
Can you give me that URL again?
Yeah, it's live, L-I-V-E.
I don't have a pen in front of me or paper.
I'll message you, Nance.
Okay, cool. Awesome,
right.
Thank you.
Robert, again for you, live.prosperitymoney. No, my mistake, Pipeline Money. live.pipelinemoney.com.
Okay, thank you.
I got it too. I got it.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
No problem.
I kind of want to bring up a video that Sue Price posted yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before, where she was listening to I think it was either Louise Hay or I don't remember, but anyway, she was talking about. It was, okay.
Yeah.
And she was talking about to not let yourself get into that what if situation, which, Nancy, I think you and I are like that. What if I get shut down? What if, I spend this money and I don't get any leads at all? And so basically she said, don't keep scaring yourself with the what ifs. When that happens, just stop and think of something pleasant. It can be something as simple as something that makes you happy. It doesn't have to be the opposite of what you're thinking. Just something like Sue was saying, for her, it's a picture of the ocean because she loves the ocean, and then to just get that thought out of your head, because not only is it doesn't serve us to scare ourselves with something that may or may not happen, but you don't want to manifest your own destiny either with law of attraction. If you keep thinking that you're going to spend money on ads and nothing's going to happen, then that's exactly what's going to happen. So and it's a process. You just gotta be aware of your thoughts and do something about it when it comes up. So when you get that what if, just stop and say, that's a what if, I'm scaring myself, I got to stop thinking about that, and then think of something pleasant.
Yeah, it all comes down to mindset.
Yeah.
It does.
Mindset Mama there knows about that.
I'm my best customer.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's right. Tell us your secrets here and just go out and do your stuff, and we won't tell anybody else.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't admit it, who will?
Yeah, that's right.
We've all got to take responsibility for what we're doing. All right, well, getting back to where we were on
Top producer.
Yeah, top producer. As I was saying earlier, I mean, it was real nice. It was really good to hear how David took it from the old way to the internet way.
Yeah.
And the history behind that, and how it would be, doing an hour's pitch for somebody, take them to a hotel meeting, take them to a Super Saturday, do a three-way. That was just so time consuming. And I think the way we have it now, I mean, it's, like we talked about earlier in this hangout, to, meet people, give them a solution, and ask them to buy. I mean, it's pretty simple. And it's not going through, having somebody, pounce on them on a three-way, excuse me. And, just all the rigmarole that you had to go through to try to, get a sale. Because even like when David talks in Speaking the World into Existence, I think it's called,
Yeah.
he talks about, the guy that told him, he got 2 leads a day. And David's first reaction was, well, you must be on the phone all day and, in Walmart all day, picking up people. And he goes, no. And that, was a realization for him that it's a lot easier than what he was making it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my 2 cents on the event. Anybody else got anything?
Well, and then, you have to think about, especially in our group tends to be a little bit older generation, that David was talking about how different things are in the way we communicate than we did back when, we were growing up, where, he talks about how his dad always answered the phone, and, they didn't have cell phones back then or anything like that, and now, even if the person is sitting there, which I think is hilarious, he told a story, well, not a story, but he said, someone could be sitting there, you're calling them, it's your buddy, you're calling them, they don't answer, and then they text you back, what do you want?
Yeah.
And it's because they just, a lot of people just don't want to talk on the phone anymore. It's just easier to, if they're watching something or they're in the middle of something, you can text and then get back to what you were doing. And so you have to kind of think about that when you're communicating to your audience, is that the communication of you talking to them and they're receiving it is completely different than what it used to be. And they talked a lot about Facebook chat last night on that hangout, and I think one of the reasons why it works so well is that you don't have to finish the conversation like you would on a phone or on a Skype call or whatever. You can kind of the conversation can last all day just in and out of it, or maybe over a couple of days where either them or you say, hey, I gotta go, but I got another question for you, blah, 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 question mark. And then you leave and you wait for them to answer. You check back maybe in an hour or two, and whenever they answer, then you answer them. And it's the same thing. I've been chatting with Paul Hutchings too, and it's the same thing. He'll ask you a question and then you answer it, but then it'll be a while before he comes back with his response because he doesn't want to be on Facebook 10 hours a day. And that's the great thing about Facebook chat. Like I said, is that you can have a conversation, but you're not glued to Facebook. If you got to get up and do something, or if you got to, even if you're at your computer, if you're doing, something, you're writing a blog or whatever, doesn't mean you have to be involved in that conversation. You can just wait until you're done to answer the question, and people understand that it's not you sitting there waiting, for them to answer. And I think that's why a lot of people are finding it kind of a comfortable way, of talking, because you don't have to worry about them hanging up, and and the fact that you don't have to finish the conversation on, in one session.
Yep, and going back to what you said, well, first of all, with the Facebook chat, it doesn't matter what age you are in there. Mm-hmm. There is no real difference. I mean, it's one way of communicating, and it's something that appeals to everybody. Mm-hmm. But going back to something else you mentioned earlier, where you said, it's different in talking to different groups of people, because of the age group. Remember that you're talking to yourself. You are an image of yourself in your message. So you really don't have to worry about that too much, because you're talking to your audience, which is basically a reflection of you.
Right.
So they're going to relate to you right away, so you don't have to worry about that as much, I believe.
I agree. I agree with that. I just think some people don't think about different ways of communicating. Like someone who's just getting started, if they're used to communicating by phone, and phone still works, but if you don't want to be on the phone all day and you truly want freedom, you're going to have to find a different way to communicate so that it's not, phone calls all the time. And you kind of have to succeed online, you kind of have to get into the 21st century, not in a, don't be afraid of the technical side. There's always help for that. But just the easy stuff like Facebook chat or sending them, a message through Skype or texting or, something that's kind of a now way to communicate. Think about those things when you're wanting to communicate with a lead or your audience or whatever.
Okay. Nance, Robert, any input?
Well, I could take it back even further because, when I first started out many, many years ago, we were getting VHS tapes to pass around, okay?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And, you would pay $5 for that VHS tape. And so, when you handed it off to someone, like Dave says, you would go back and get it. You know what I mean? So it was just more time that was really being wasted unless you took that tape to someone and said, hey, you got time to watch it right now? And most people are like, no, I really don't right now, so you leave the tape with them, right? And if you don't follow up with them, you end up losing $5, right? So
Right.
And that can add up pretty quickly.
it does add up pretty quick. It adds up pretty quick. It really does. So I understand where he was talking about, you want to go back and get your, your DVD or whatever. But no, him going through the history of all that, like you said, Raymond, it was very interesting to, see it come from that point all the way up to the point where you could see all of a sudden the light bulb went on for him that, hey, I can do that online exactly what I'm really doing by being there physically in all of these places, and it's taking up so much more of my time. So by doing it online, he, of course, realized it freed up a lot of his time.
And gave you a bigger audience.
And gave you a much bigger platform to work from. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's the whole premise behind Inner Circle, is to keep the company and the excitement of doing this business in your face, to keep you motivated. He talked about how Dexter Yeager would go and he'd get everybody hyped up, and that would last, and then everybody was excited and they'd produce, and then he'd leave, and it would just start, as soon as he left, it would start dwindling down to nothing. So, he was the one who said, how can I keep these people motivated without having to be there every day? And he started making tapes. Well, that's the whole premise behind, being part of the Inner Circle, is they have now literally hundreds of video or audios that you can listen to keep you motivated, so that he doesn't have to be on a hangout or whatever, every stinking day to keep us motivated. The only thing he's got to do is keep us motivated to listen to the Inner Circle.
So that's one of the 8 core commitments, so you're going to do it anyway.
That's right. And I think that's why he makes it, there are going to be people who just don't do stuff because they just don't. But when people make a commitment, that's why he calls it a commitment. It's a harsh word. And when people make a commitment, most people who know that they're serious about their business and they want it to grow are going to listen to Inner Circles every day because they made that commitment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Robert.
If I can take the conversation back to our original conversation with Linda there for a second, I think part of what Linda felt, and Linda, you can, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but from the leads that you were generating, you were getting the gut feeling, more or less, that the people that were jumping on your list really weren't serious about being in this business.
Correct. Yeah.
And so, and I think I'm sure you read that right. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of them, they're just not ready yet.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, and there will come a time they will be ready. So hang on to that list, right?
Right. Right. Right.
That's
Well,
Yeah,
and I think.
or the other part of it is that they're looking for that secret sauce
Yeah.
Mhm.
and seeing if you got it. And because I mean,
Mhm.
there's still a lot of people out there that, you know, what's the secret? Come on, tell me the real secret on how to do this. You know, you're holding back on me. And,
Mhm.
you know, it comes down just to basics. You know, and people got to understand that. I mean, you have to work for what you want. I mean, it's not how bad you want it; it's bad you want to work for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much effort are you really willing to put in? That's what it
Hmm.
comes down to.
And I look at, I look at this group here today, and I mean, I noticed that, these are the people that are, putting out the content on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Where our group has shrunk down, and some people are, almost non-existent now online, from what they were before.
Mhm.
And we got to, try to revive those people somehow, to get them, back to where they were. Because I mean, you look at the boot camp we came out of, and the time we had in Vegas. Vegas, for the people that were there, they got to see each other in person. And now, we've dwindled down, and people, just disappeared, as I say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta get, we gotta reach out. I mean, there's some people that are going through some stuff which we know about. They've been upfront about it.
Mhm.
But others, I tried to reach out to somebody yesterday. They haven't replied back to me yet. But just asking what are you up to? Just to see.
And maybe it's the accountability issue. Erica made us all accountable. That was, I think, for a lot of the people, that was the number one motivator. Where in our graduates boot camp, we are we shouldn't need, well, shouldn't is a big word, that accountability. But in essence, maybe some people still do need that accountability.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's, just like anything, it should be a habit at this point.
Yes.
We did it for 90 days.
Yeah.
It says it takes 21 days to develop a habit. We did that a couple of times over.
I mean, I instill that in myself. I still feel accountable to myself, to my group, to my business, and I mean, if you're not accountable, then, where do you go from there?
Mhm.
Right, because how's it going to happen if you're not?
Right. I mean, if people are accountable to a job, they're accountable to showing up, taking care of their children, or, you know, working every day with their spouse, daily activities at home. I mean, this is no different, to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming here, but I do think accountability is a big issue with people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think you're absolutely right.
And really, I don't want to say worried, but I was thinking that might happen because this is more like the honor system kind of thing. There's not somebody checking you off, and I made sure that everybody knew that in the beginning, that this is up to you now. But for those people who really still need that, either being checked off or whatever, we didn't want it to. It's at this point, it's not fair to, like, Ray and I, who put the group together, that one of us check people off. That takes a lot of work.
Right.
Erica did that out of the love of her heart and being a leader, and a lot of the people were in her team. So she's basically helping others while she was helping her team. And so to those people out there that are kind of slipping because they don't have that accountability and they really still need that, get an accountability partner. That way, Ray and I kind of talk to each other every day, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm thinking about doing this. Is it a dumb idea? Or whatever, and we're kind of each other's accountability partner. And so find somebody, if the group, just being in the group is not enough, find somebody either in the group or on your team or somebody else that's in this business to be your accountability partner, and check in every couple of days. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. It can be a Facebook chat. It can be a call, whatever. But just go over, like, this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I got accomplished, and what are you doing, and that kind of thing. And have an accountability partner. Even to this day, Erica has her accountability partner is Kevin Connect, and they get together, I think, once a week or something, and just make sure that each person is doing what they wanted to do for the week. So
yeah, that's important.
But Linda, getting back to your thing on accountability, the one thing I take a look at also is the number of people that are repeating the basic boot camp from the first time. They realized they weren't, ready to move on.
Right.
And they're back in there again. Robert, you're doing that, and you're doing both, but it's helping you out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's helped me tremendously.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I mean, I know the first time.
Robert, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, I know the first time. I mean, I know that I got stalled on the blogging. So basically, I got way behind, and then, in the last minute, I pulled everything out. But, that wasn't true accountability there, where I pushed everything all at once, and shoved it all in a couple of days. Yeah, I managed to do it, and it proved that I am capable of doing much more than I thought I was. But at the same time, the consistency wasn't there, and that's why I went back to the boot camp again. And I have done much better this time, and I am pretty much hitting my assignments. I may run a day behind or so, but every week I have been able to get my award, shall we say?
Yeah.
But that's, to me, that's real consistency, by being able to do that week in and week out. And so that's why I'm still there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. That's why I go on a lot of hangouts and other people's groups. It's just to pick up knowledge.
Right.
I do I follow, I'm involved with 2 groups with Ellie and Carol, that they do one on Tuesday nights with Lynn Brown, the Millionaire Mission, or the $1 Million Mission, which is pretty neat. They had Anna Zuberoff on this past week talking about social media, and then they do their own with their group on Thursday nights at 6 Eastern Time. Where they just do a round table like we're doing here, throwing ideas around and stuff, and then they do a mastermind afterwards with their group, and then trying to get on Paul's calls on Wednesday, and then Thursday night I'm in Tracy Walker's group.
To
Speak out to be heard.
Yeah,
something like that, and she does a great job of training. It's a whole different vibe than what you get with from Erica, but it's right on point. And this is the last week you can get in for free on Tracy's group. I think she's going to start charging for it.
Right.
But it's valuable information. I mean, she did 3 parts on blogging, on and just little things that you tweak to make it better.
Yeah.
So. That's all out there.
So Ray, she's accepting people into her group. I mean, into her hangouts.
Yeah. Yeah, I got in right away when I heard about it, because I follow her on a couple of different places.
Yeah, she's got a Facebook group, and then if you join that, then Ray, stop me if I'm wrong. As long as you're a part of that before she starts charging, you won't be charged. And then she's going to start charging for, I guess, like a membership site. She's creating a membership site for training.
Because I'd like to check that out.
The group is Speak Out to Be Heard.
Yeah.
The number 2. The number 2.
The number 2 and the letter B. So speak out to be heard.
That's the Facebook group?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, to be heard. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, check that out. I mean, because tomorrow they'll be doing they're doing one tonight at 8 or 9, whatever time it is. I think it's 8 Eastern
8
time.
o'clock.
Yeah.
And then they
And
advertise
I
that.
believe those previous trainings are there available too, so that you can watch those as well, Nancy.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yes.
awesome.
in the
Okay.
file section.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
once you get to the group.
Especially when she's training, they tend to get long. They're about 2 hours. So it's nice to be able to go back and, if you can't watch the whole thing, go back and finish it or rewatch it or whatever.
Yeah, because
She's
a couple
taught a lot.
are pretty long. They're
Mhm.
like 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, but jam-packed with stuff.
Mm.
Good to
And when
know.
she does her hangout, she uses Zoom, so it's a checkerboard of like 12 people or more at a time on the page that you can see and chat with.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a genius setup because she's basically, at least, for when she was doing the blogging, she would ask people, what they wanted to know, and then she would show them, like she would have them get in their own account, and she'd say, okay, go over to the left and do this, and so she'd have them do it live. So not only was she teaching somebody the answer to the question, she's using it as part of her training.
Right.
And it happens live. So it's really kind of a genius thing for really any kind of training. If when you start a team or whatever, you could
Yeah.
you could set it up that way. She's a smart cookie, that's for sure.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She sure is. She's
Always giving.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're coming up at 7 minutes before 7.
I wanted to say one more thing. When I jumped on, you guys were talking about doing videos and stuff, and Linda, you were saying sometimes you get caught up. The one thing that has really helped me, well, and like you had said too, the reading, the reading and the listening to the audios, and I listen to that Think and Grow Rich call almost. I try to every morning, or I listen to the recording anyway. And I cannot begin to tell you how many nuggets that I pull from that call to do my videos, because Paul Hutchings is so inspirational for me. He just really he really hits it, and the whole Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich concept. And that's what I do. I mean, I write it down. I write down these topics, and then I can just, based on that topic that really resonated with me, I can do a 2-minute video on that. And I kind of wait until I feel really super inspired, so because I try to really push that across, I mean, because if I'm excited, somebody's going to get excited there, But that's kind of been my technique, and then I just
need to get on that call.
Oh, it's a great call, and it's recorded too, so that if you can't catch it at 9 a.m. Eastern, you could catch it anytime during the day. There's another number that you plug into, and it's nice because it's free. That's another training that's free, but it's so inspirational, and not only what Paul talks about and what he reads, but the mastermind group afterwards, people afterwards that, they bring a lot to that call too. So it's
How long
it's a good one.
Is it an hour?
It's an hour. It's always an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another good one. I've been on that before and gotten a lot out of it. I've lost track of getting on there lately.
Well, it's nice because it's recorded, so
yeah, I don't think about that though.
You can squeeze that in whenever you want to, and I never listen to the live call because usually between 9 and 10 Eastern, I work a full-time job, and but I just, like, if I'm driving someplace because I'm on the road a lot, I just squeeze it into my drive time, just like I do the inner circles. So yeah, that's a biggie for me.
Good.
That's awesome.
And speaking about driving, how's Mom?
She's getting better slowly. She's got as a result of what's happened, she's got some other issues now with her heart, and that we've got to take care of. And we're just trying to get her to the point where she can take care of herself. And she's in rehab, but you know, it's slow at her age. You know, the progress is slow, but she is making progress. She even made a joke yesterday, so I know she's on the road to recovery.
That always helps. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's not been, you know, as you know, Linda, and you know, we all have those issues with aging parents or you know, family members. Stuff, you know,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Glad to hear she's moving along.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Alrighty then. Let's talk about next week. Next week we're going to be coming back, and we're going to be reviewing module number 5.
Okay.
On the top producer. So we'll discuss that and use that as the basis for our talk next week. If you have contact with anybody else from the group, let's try to get everybody back, and just, find out what's going on. Reach out to people you think you're close with, and see what we can do to help out.
Yeah, we need to get more people. We need to try to get more people back to this group. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I think Jeannie will be back soon, since she's gotten everything squared away. She's just on vacation for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Because 5 weeks from now the other boot camp's over, and we'll be getting another group of freshmen.
Oh yeah. Excellent.
So we'll take that to the next level. So this is going to get real interesting as we move along.
Yeah.
So we'll have a lot of excitement with the new people coming in, coming off of their experience. And then, it's Orlando time also.
Also, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not sure. I heard something yesterday from Alex that he mentioned, and that was that they are toying with the idea of putting together a next level boot camp. So we might be seeing another boot camp that we can go to with them that basically will help us get to that next level beyond, the newbie level, of course. So, that
I sort of figured that out from somebody's comment on Erica's page. Somebody had mentioned something that's something next could be coming.
Okay.
Yeah, I figured that.
So we'll see.
All right, well, that's good to know. We'll see what happens. Well then, we're gonna wrap this up for today. What's all that noise going on?
It's my family. Yes, my family's getting up and getting ready for the day.
Oh, okay. Noisy bunch they are.
Yes, breakfast is being made.
All right. All right then, everybody. Appreciate you being here today. Everybody that was viewing in, I see we have a viewer or two out there. For those of you watching the replay, I hope you enjoyed this. And we will be back next Thursday, 6 a.m. Eastern Time, whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. And for now, we're all going to say goodbye.
Okay.
Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.